Hey everybody, today I wanted to go and bust a lot of the myths and like misconceptions that exist outside of the Hytale community about the game. I'm talking things that are giving people hesitation towards buying Hytale or trying it out, or maybe just flat out making them not interested in anything about the game at all. This isn't going to be a video that's intended to try to like massively convince people to buy the game or try the game, or that aren't interested in the game to have interest in it. Instead, it's just to give you proper information to answer some of these concerns so you can make a more educated decision on it. Not everybody has to like Hytale, but if you're going to decide that you don't like it for some reason, then it should be reasons that are true about the game. So I'm going to try to give you the best information I can as we go through this. These questions or these concerns I gathered from a Twitter post that I did, from my Discord, and from a YouTube post that I did. So these are coming from people that just answered directly to me about their concerns that I wanted to answer. If you enjoy these types of videos, do me a favor, drop a like, click subscribe so you get to see more of them. And if you purchase Hytale, be sure to use code PROWL8413. It does help support the channel, and I would definitely appreciate it. All right, so let's go ahead and hop into the first one here. This one comes from Gas Powered Pick. We will read his quote tweet first. It says, after watching Ant Venom's recent video mentioning the difference between adventure and exploration mode in Hytale, with only the latter being available on release, I'm interested in how the gameplay loop will be prior to adventure mode's main progression path. Here's a thread. And we're not going to pull up the thread here, but he responds to me saying, since this game is less focused on survival mechanics, the process of obtaining treasure will likely be of greater importance. Gathering unique loot might be vital for the gameplay loop, especially in exploration mode, but I don't see it talked about much. So let's try to answer this and break it down a few different ways. So first of all, there is talk of exploration mode and adventure mode. So these kind of aren't two different things. They're actually the same thing. We're calling it exploration mode for now because a lot of the more like story-based adventure aspects of the game are not there yet, and they'll be added in at some point. We'll see when that happens. But when that does happen, we're just going to call it adventure mode at that point. I don't want to go heavily into this, but just know that there will be some story elements of Hytale. You may very well be able to skip most, if not all of them. I highly doubt they're going to be something that's required to enjoy the game and play through the game. But there will be some semblance of a story to follow, go through, do some like basic quests maybe, or and fight some bosses and that kind of thing. So we'll see how it all plays out. But my main point is it's only a small part of the game, and it's not a part of the game that I believe you're going to be forced to do in any way. Now, to answer the concern that was pointed directly at me, the game is less focused on survival mechanics is actually wrong straight off the start. I just posted a video yesterday about different like quote unquote cozy gameplay systems that actually have a lot to do with survival mechanics. Things like farming and fishing and potion brewing and cooking, and a lot of systems that fit within like a survival mechanic type of grouping, I guess. So the concern here from what I can gather is, oh, well, the game's going to be more focused to getting stuff that you need from the adventuring part, from going and fighting mobs, fighting bosses, and going through the story. And we really don't have any indication of that yet. So if we don't know if there is going to be any importance to the story outside of just experiencing the story itself. My feel from what I get when I have talked to Simon or read some of his tweets and such is that you're not really going to have to interact with that. You're going to be able to get everything you need and more from just normal exploration gameplay like you would in a game like Minecraft, and it will be non-important things that you'll get out of the story, and the story is really more there to tell the story of the world than it is to be part of the gameplay loop, if that makes sense. So moving on to the next one here, Freddie said, I've heard very, very little about Hytale so far, but I haven't really heard anything that makes Hytale distinctly unique. I'm genuinely asking this isn't a dig or anything, which is fair. I enjoy the technical side of Minecraft, i.e. redstone. Does Hytale have anything equivalent? So this is going to be something that it will be a little bit of a wait and see, but it also depends on what you mean by something being distinctly unique, because there's really not a lot of distinctly unique things in gaming, like generally nowadays. I think that what you'll see genuinely like distinctly unique about Hytale will be a larger combination of the way they put the game together and the experience that they give. So what I'm going to mean by that is the game is going to have really fun, robust combat and a very wide range of mobs that you can fight and structures that you can go in and battle through and bosses to beat and some RPG element styles to the story. But it's going to blend that very heavily with an even larger side of the game that is that sandbox side of the game. The go where you want, do what you want, how you want part of the game is going to be larger and more prevalent than the adventuring RPG side of the game. But they're going to be blended together really well. On top of that, I think you're going to see a really interesting host of mechanics that support all of this, because we've heard inklings of them before. When I think about a game like Minecraft, which was mentioned in this post here, Minecraft is pretty much 100% sandbox. It doesn't really give you, it gives you almost nothing to chew on in terms of like mechanical systems. When we think about stuff like fishing and these different things, they're about as basic as you could possibly make them. Whereas it seems like Hytale is going to have a little bit more to chew on in that regard. You will have a more progression based or wide array of a fishing system, of a system for pets, of a system for gathering and taking care of crops, of a system of cooking. So if I were to give you some examples of little bits that I know right now, it would be that we know that along with the crops, we know that a watering can exists to water them. We know that a scarecrow exists that you would put out like by the crops. So maybe they're going to have to keep the crops watered as one of the mechanics. Maybe you have to put up scarecrows every so often to keep birds from like taking some of your crops away. So there may be potential things in here like that. If I were to give another example, the cooking system is going to be pretty unique. You're going to have multi-ingredient cooking that you can do in the game. And those cooked foods will give you buffs that you're going to use, like longer term buffs that you're going to use in the game. Maybe there's a stew that makes you mine faster, or a certain meal that you can eat that's going to give you a couple of different combat related buffs. And it sounds like this is going to be a very cool, intricate system to deal with, but at the same time, not being so important and demanding to where you feel like you have to interact with it to do anything in the game. Simon has spoke about striking a balance. For the second part of this question, I enjoy the technical side of Minecraft, i.e. Redstone. Does Hytale have anything equivalent? The answer to that right now is no. And the longer term answer on that is we'll see, but there's some indication of a direction. So Simon, when you hear me refer to him, if you don't know, he's the owner of Hytale. He's kind of the brainchild of the whole thing. He's steering a lot of the ship here. What he's looking to do is, or I guess what his initial ideas are for the game to have a system that is kind of a mesh of an NPC style system, along with a create mod style system that uses machines to accomplish things. So we don't know what that'll look like. I know of NPC systems like Pal World. He has kind of vaguely spoken about that. And he's, I think, reacted to feedback that people have given around like, well, it'd be interesting if we had to take care of the NPCs in some way. They don't just do everything for you automatically, but they have their own care and conditions that need to be met, which would add a level of fun and complexity to the game that I think a lot of people would like, give you a lot of fun chores to do to take care of that. And then when we talk about the machines, again, he hasn't given a lot of specifics, but he did mention create mods specifically. So I could see something of that nature where you combine create with NPCs to do a lot of quote unquote farming in the game and a lot of technical things in the game, maybe even aesthetic things in the game when we think about doors and vehicles, maybe. I don't know exactly how far it's going to go. These things aren't set in stone, though. He has also mentioned that if somebody made a mod for the game that had a logic-based system, which is what Redstone is, and it was really good, and he thought it would fit in the vanilla game, like he would like hire the people that made this mod to implement it into the game. So he is open to it. We don't want to shut the door on it, but we do know the direction for now, and we do know that nothing is in the game for this as of yet due to how early we are in the early access. Moving on, Styles Clover here has some concerns, and we're going to focus on the microtransaction part of it. So first he says server-side only mods. These are just concerns that he has. Server-side only mods means no shaders, no performance mods, etc. You are only allowed to create what the Hytale devs want, which is not totally true, but does have a grain of truth to it. The mods are going to be server-side. There will not be client-side mods, and I would say that this is much more common than what Minecraft does. I'm sure you guys could maybe list a few games that are like Minecraft, but Minecraft is fairly unique in this, and that they do allow client-side mods, which has a lot of good things that go along with that, and also has a lot of downsides to it as well. And probably one of the reasons why you have a difference between a Java edition Minecraft and a Bedrock edition Minecraft, and some other issues as well. Next, when we talk about custom skins, no custom skins in multiplayer except friends with extra effort of adding it. So we only have a preset skin system, so we can't have freedom of personal expression. I would say this is a bit of an exaggeration, and a lot of people do think this, and some of the information put out there has been kind of muddy, so I can understand the little bit of confusion around this point. So when we talk about multiplayer skins, skins are going to be possible, but since they're not client side and our server side, skins are actually technically going to be a mod. Also, the skins are a little bit more complex than Minecraft skins are, so the way that you make them is not going to be as accessible to people, kind of, but a lot of times, like, people would just download the skins they liked anyways. In this case, your skins are going to be mods. If you want to make one on your own, you can make it in Blockbench. Maybe somebody comes out with some third-party tool that can export a file that would also work, that would be easier. We'll have to see what happens with that. I'm thinking it'll probably happen, some kind of like web-based solution. And the fact that it's a mod scares people a little bit, but mods are going to be easily installable in-game. You don't have to drop stuff in different folders and have launchers and things like that. Mods are going to be very simple. When it comes to a skin mod, you could very easily have this mod in your own single player world. If you want to play in somebody else's world and appear as your skin, yes, you will have to send them your skin mod, and they would add it to their world, to their server. I would say it's going to be pretty simple. It's not a big deal, but it is one extra step that you have to do. There will be a character customizer. We have seen information on that, although that information is dated, but it will have a lot of your typical things that you're used to seeing with good character customizers, like things where you can select different hair types, different faces, different skin colors, different body types, different clothing, and all these sorts of things to customize your character. Leading into that, this person said a lot of preset skins locked behind microtransactions. This is just, I think, a kind of bad faith assumption a little bit. We do know that it is a possibility, if not, I would say pretty likely, that there will be a like microtransaction style shop to purchase skins and skin accessories. Now, you can believe what they say or not. I don't have a reason to not believe them at this point because they haven't been misleading in anything else. But what they do say is they do want the skin system to be fair, or their like purchases you can make to be fair, meaning that they do want to continue to add new options to the skin system and over time, like free stuff, and they want the free stuff to be good too. So they don't, their goal and intent isn't to kind of give you a bunch of crappy options to pick from. You end up liking none of them, therefore you feel like you have to go to a shop to buy stuff that looks good. And from what it has sounded like, it sounds more like there's going to be like cool accessories and wearable things that you can buy from their in-store shop. And you know, I guess at the end of the day, it's up to you whether you believe them or not. I would say at your worst case scenario should be just kind of wait and see. Like, let's see what they do. If if it's like a deal breaker for you to have an easy customizable skin like in Minecraft, I'm kind of sorry it's not going to happen. I think that's kind of a silly deal breaker, but you know, that's your decision if that's the way you feel about it. And the last one, most mods will be locked behind microtransactions in the end. This one's actually, I would say this one's pretty false misconception or misunderstanding of how they're going to be doing things. So the way things are going to work and what modders are allowed to do is Hytale is going to allow modders to sell their mods if they want to. So the difference there is, like in Minecraft, Mojang does not allow you to sell your mods. On Bedrock, they allow people to make add-ons and sell them on their marketplace. With Hytale, people will just be allowed to sell their mods. They can sell them on their own website or something like that. And people are also free to make free mods as well. They're just not going to restrict that in any way. So it's up to the modders ultimately. Now, initially speaking, your mods, you will not be able to get via in-game. You'll have to go to sites like CurseForge or a third-party website to get your mods, but they are intending soon and will be working on soon the ability for mods to be posted like directly through Hytale in their in the game. As a result of doing this, a lot of people would assume that that means it's going to be a marketplace like Minecraft and everything's going to be for sale and there's going to be strict regulations on things and this sort of thing, and that's not what they're doing. It's just going to be a place where people can host their mods. They can still keep their mods for free there if they want to. They can charge something for those mods if they want to. And then ultimately it's going to be people that decide if they want to purchase these mods or go for the free ones. My experience in this is that oftentimes a lot of people make these mods as a passion project and they're probably not going to charge for them. And also Hypixel and Hytale is going to try to give modders a way to make money that does not involve them selling the mods. So for example, they can be part of the creator program and you can enter in like their code when you purchase Hytale or you purchase a microtransaction in game or something like that, and then they can earn money that way. They're also thinking of or have mentioned putting a support or donate button along with the mod. So if you want to just decide to donate money to the modder for them making the mod, you using it and you liking it, then you can do that. So that's another way. So modders will have a way to earn money that's not selling it, or if they want to, they will be able to decide to sell it. No mention has been made on if Hytale would take a cut of that or not, whereas they have talked about a cut for servers, which is, from what I've heard from server operators, is kind of fair in terms of what they're thinking of doing. But no mention has been made of them taking a percentage of mods. Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. I don't know. Well, I guess we kind of do know a little bit. Simon has said one thing that they want to do with mods is they kind of don't want to take a percentage cut because he doesn't want there to be this perception of, or for them to have the be encouraged to highlight stuff that they make money off of. So that could be an indication that they're not going to take any percentage cut from mods, because he has said that he doesn't want them to be incentivized to just show the mods on the front page that make them the most money. So I don't know what other method they would do. Maybe if you want to post your mod on the site, maybe you have to pay a one-time fee to post it there. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine. You could post it on a third-party site. I think that could be a good system. Maybe you'll have a monthly fee that you have to pay per mod posted. I don't know. I'm just throwing some possibilities out there of things they might do. But all of those would probably be pretty fair, because you could just decide to put your stuff on CurseForge, or maybe if Modrinth picks it up at some point, or some other popular third-party site crops up, you could just put your mods there and not have to pay any fees as well. So I guess we'll see exactly how that's going to work. Okay, Hytale King here says, I love Hytale, so I don't fit into those categories, but I have some heavy critiques which were kind of answered but are still negatives of the game. For one, the ability to customize your avatar is greatly limited. That one we already talked about. You are somewhat limited, but and in the end, if you have yourself a custom avatar made, it's going to be pretty easy for you to play with it in your personal world. It's going to be one extra step to do it, but still possible in your friends' worlds or in a community server that you play in. And really the only time you're completely locked out is going to be public servers. And there might even be a solution for that. Somebody is already making a character mod database where you can upload your character to this database. It get bundled together as one large mod, and then public servers, if they so choose, they can just download, they can get this big player skin mod for free, and it will include every player skin that has been uploaded to it. So maybe there will be public servers that you can just join and your skin will be there. So that's gonna be pretty cool too. Okay, Axionym says the game's current state is not much more than the original modded Java experience from Minecraft. Art assets are not in actual playable state, and there is no true world cohesion. What we've seen is presentation / proof of concept, and negative reviews will be taken anti-Hytale. So I really dislike this argument, and I think one of the reasons I dislike it is because it's kind of a little short-sighted, I guess. When you compare anything that's a like voxel / blocky game to modded Minecraft is unfair because, first of all, if you've seen the full scope of modded Minecraft, like, it's kind of insane because you can fully mod the game. If the bar was, well, modded Minecraft can do that, you would probably be able to you would be able to say that about a decent portion of every single game that ever comes out in this genre. And the implication almost is there should never ever be another blocky game because they're all going to be kind of like modded Minecraft. So I think that's just unfair and a little short-sighted, and you should look at the game more for what it is, not think about how it compares to another game's mods. Second of all, modded Minecraft is a kind of crazy beast on its own. You have to find and download a launcher, and you have to usually get performance mods to go along with your playable mods, and then you have to either piecemeal dozens if not hundreds of mods together to create a cohesive experience. And if you don't do that, maybe you just find a mod pack that does it, and there's a lot of cool parts of that, but it's not as easy as just launch the game, play the game, let my friend join my world, like all these different things, right? So it is very different, even if you want to compare some of the capabilities. Art assets are not in actual playable state. I don't quite know what that means. I mean, I've been playing it in the background here. Like, we've seen a lot of combat and things going on, and everything seems like in a playable state. There are some bugs that exist, but I would not call it not playable by a long shot. There is no true world cohesion. I really don't understand what that means either. Like, if I think of a game like Minecraft, there's no world cohesion at all. You have random biomes scattered all over the place. And from what little bit we know about the zones in Hytale, what we do know is there is an intended world cohesion. There is intended to be biome blending and biomes beside other biomes that make sense. Everything is broken into zones, and each zone is a grouping of biomes that belong together. So there seems to actually be quite a lot of world cohesion. And then what we've seen is presentation / proof of concept. In a way, sure, like it kind of is, but like we've seen a decent amount of gameplay. There's a lot of concept art. There's a lot of on the record things that have been said by the developers. So I think it's more than presentation / proof of concept, but at the end of the day, we'll see, right? And if that is one of your concerns, is like, will they actually deliver on any of this? It's okay to not buy the game right now, but to keep an interested eye on it. Wait until the game comes out, and I don't know, come pop in one of my streams and see what the game's about and watch some videos on it. And then you can make an informed decision. Like, nobody's going to force you to buy it right now. You don't have to buy the game right now. And negative reviews will be taken as anti-Hytale. I mean, you know, that's just tribalism stuff that every game has. Say something negative about Minecraft and you're anti-Minecraft, right? It's kind of tribalistic for people to think that way, and I don't think they should. Golden Helmet says it comes across as, this is from my Discord, which you should join, discord.gg/prow8413. Golden Helmet says it comes across as just more Minecraft, sort of like a marketplace world. We've kind of already talked about that. Definitely not like a marketplace world, because marketplace is not very capable. But also, like, there's a lot here. Go and watch my cozy video that I just put out yesterday. You'll learn about a lot of the systems. Go watch the creative mode display that they've shown, where they show everything that creative mode can do. It's basically a combination of and exceeding what like every world builder-esque, world editing-esque type mod is capable of doing in Minecraft Java Edition, and goes beyond that. And then also one really important thing to state as well, that really takes it away from Minecraft, takes us outside of the game and into their intent, which is they are building the game with the intent of it being heavily modded, providing good modding tools for people to make mods, and for there to be good server support as well, meaning public servers that people can join, right? So this is really intended to be much more of a inclusive feature set than it is where in Minecraft, where people just kind of made all these things work. So as the player, it's going to be way easier to look for and find and use mods. If you want to play on a cool RPG server or PvP server or something like that, they're going to be hosted in game right there. Like you can look at a server list and go join it and play with hundreds or maybe thousands of other people. There's going to be a lot of wild stuff that comes up, and Hytale is really focusing on that as one of their strategies. It's not just a byproduct of the way the game is, it is intended design. Atomic says people have this misconception that it's been said that Hytale is going to be the next quote-unquote Minecraft killer. I think it comes from a place of not being in the loop or keeping up with all the info that comes out. Simon even mentioned before that he's not trying to compete with Minecraft, but he's just trying to put out a good game. And the Minecraft killer thing is, again, some kind of tribalistic stuff. Simon and their team has first, they've been honest about their inspiration from Minecraft, but they've also have explicitly said, like, we're not trying to make a Minecraft competitor. We're just trying to make a game that we like. So they don't want that direct Minecraft comparison. Obviously, players are going to make that comparison, and anybody that thinks that for Hytale to be successful, that it has to kill Minecraft or take massive players away from Minecraft is not looking at this the right way. Will this game compete with playtime from Minecraft players? Absolutely it will, because there's a lot of shared interests. But it also competes with Terraria and with Valheim and like all these other, like, I guess, like survival based games. I've personally ran across a ton of people inside of the Hytale community that haven't played Minecraft in years, or maybe haven't ever played Minecraft. I've seen people coming from like Call of Duty to come like try out this game and join the community and play the game. So they don't have to kill Minecraft to be successful. They don't have to take a big notch of Minecraft players to be successful. And ultimately, it's not this one for one thing. There's enough playtime from these hundreds of millions of Minecraft players to play other stuff and then also still like Minecraft and still play Minecraft. I Want to Do Again says, I just know Hytale recently, but hearing about 7-year cancellation still makes me skeptical of the game, but we will find out very soon, right? So let's wait and see. I don't want to go through the whole big story. You can look it up if you want to, but basically, yes, this game was announced like 8 years ago and it was canceled. And the big concern is that, like, why is it back, et cetera, et cetera. So to give you the very short answer to this, as short as I can make it, Simon and Hypixel originally started making Hytale back in about 2016, and he was part of the team through about 2020 when they sold the game to Riot. Now, as part of that, first, Simon sold the game because he thought it was in the best interest of the game to do so. They were at a point where they needed funding to continue to make the game, and he says that he wanted to make the best decision for the game to succeed. So he sold it to Riot, and after 5 years under Riot, the game went through development hell. And they kept adding and changing and doing different things, and it was kind of apparent that Riot didn't want to deal with it anymore. The game was still at least a couple years out after already being 9 total years in development, so Riot pulled the plug and said, we're done, we're not doing this anymore. They laid off or fired everybody from Hypixel Studios. They closed the studio, they canceled the game. There was then, because the game has a huge fan base, this fan base made an outcry to Simon saying, dude, Simon, you have to save Hytale, you have to save Hytale. He kind of quickly got on board with that idea. And as he has himself said, like, he could just be comfy in retirement right now and never need to work a day in his life again if he wanted to. But instead, he wanted to jump back into the game, to save the game, to bring the game back in his image of what he wanted to do, and to bring it to the players and quote unquote break the curse of never releasing. And that's kind of where we are today. Is he doesn't now own the game as a way to make money. He already was set for life with the amount of money that he had. Instead, he spent most of that to buy the game back, and this is a big passion project for him to bring to us as gamers. So it's a great story. If you want to know more about it, you can look up a number of different YouTube videos about it. Ruben said Hytale will probably be very buggy, and on top of that, it's only in English. My English is very basic. I'm using a translator right now. My native language is Spanish. These are reasons that are stopping me from buying the game yet. The game will be buggy at first. There's no doubt about it. They have all but admitted it. And Simon's gone to the point of trying to discourage people from starting the game early if they will have even an inkling of issue with the fact that the game has bugs. If a buggy game is something that's going to really turn you off on the game, you don't want to jump into Hytale yet. You might want to give it 6 months to cook and then check on some streams and videos and see if the game's in a state that you think you're going to be happy with. Next, the game is only in English right now. I can't remember the name of some kind of system that they've done, but there's some type of system out there that allows for crowdsourcing of fans to contribute translations themselves in whatever languages that they speak. And I know they're actively using that. So I do believe that in the not too distant future, the game will be translated into a variety of other languages. And this is being crowdsourced from the community. They're not directly doing it themselves. You can maybe look into this on YouTube or try to Google it. I don't really know a lot about that, but I do know that that's what they're trying to do. Moving on here, Bate says it's currently PC exclusive, and I heard there's no controller support. It is currently only on PC, soon to come to Mac and Linux, but they're also, PCs basically, and there is not current controller support. They are going to be, once we hit early access on January 13th, aggressively pursuing controller support. So that will be kind of short-ish coming. They want to do that largely for accessibility reasons early on, because a lot of people can't sit and do a keyboard and mouse. They kind of need the game with a controller. So they want to do it for that purpose at first. And then later they want it also for console support. So they will be pursuing that pretty soon, but it will not be their early access launch if that is a deal breaker for you. Now, Chasey Cypher 5302 says, for it to catch my interest, it will need to be available on console, followed up by multiplayer couch co-op. Then I'm willing to take a closer look at it. And we do know that there is a heavy intention to go to console. They have said that they will go to console, but it's not something that they've looked into yet. Right now, they're worried about just developing the game and getting it in a good working state on PC first, and then they will pursue console. If you think about it in this way, it makes sense, because if you put the game on Xbox, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, with the game in an early access state, this would really end up meaning that everything that they do, every change that they make, is going to take 4 times longer, because they have to redevelop everything that they do for these different platforms. And that obviously would not be very easy to do. And it would slow down the process of getting the game to full release. So my expectation would be they're going to continue to develop the game for PC only for now. And then once they get to a point where they don't feel like they're throwing constant big updates, maybe then they start looking at going to console. And especially as they get closer to full release, they'll look to go to console. And they have some ideas of how they're going to do it, but it's not something that they have started to do yet. Oh, and then to answer the question about couch co-op, this has not been mentioned anywhere. I've not heard mention of it anywhere. And I'm assuming it probably won't be something that they think about until they start trying to go to console. I can only assume that they would probably try to do couch co-op, since a lot of games like this do that. Now, 9ball Teme says, easy, I'm a console player. If they want to capture even 10% of Minecraft players, they need a console/mobile rollout, but they will fall into the same dilemma as Minecraft, 2 versions of the same game, or Hytale will alienate non-PC players and have slow growth and fade away. But more so, I'm really not interested in a new voxel game. I've never once gotten bored with Minecraft in the 10 years I've been playing. So I'll answer that last part first. It's okay to just be a Minecraft fan and to not be a Hytale fan or any other voxel game fan. That's fine. If you're content with Minecraft and you just want to keep playing it and not explore other games, that's fine. You do you. Player choice, right, is always important. But to answer the first part, this is a concern that a lot of people have. I had this concern too. I had the fortune of asking Simon directly about this, and he gave me a very direct answer. When they do go to console, it will be the same version of the game that exists on PC. When they do go to mobile, if they go to mobile, mobile's a little bit more up in the air. It will be the same version that is what's on PC. They will not have a situation where there are two competing versions with each other that don't really do the same thing and work in the same way. It'll be all one version of the game. So that was great to hear. Next, the Real Sork says, first, they only put it on PC to test. That kills the game right off the start and only limits it to some people. Now, even if it comes to console, I won't get it because they screwed us over in early access to start. So to me, that lost them a customer already. They need to do better as a company who wants to sell their game. I'm sorry. I'll say this one's just really silly. Obviously, that's just not a good way to think about these things, generally speaking. But even more so, you wouldn't want them to rush a console version just to rush a console version. That would set everything back and end up with something that makes nobody happy. So I've kind of already explained why or how they're doing it and why they're doing it the way that they are. Next, Exited Sun says, I'm not really the intended audience. I'm very excited for Hytale and bought Cursebreaker with your code. Thank you. Appreciate it. Code PROW8413, guys. One thing I'd like to know, however, is how multiplayer worlds will work with friends. Will you get zero ping? And your friend's ping depends on their distance from you. I mean, the ping thing is just how multiplayer works. So yes, it works how you're saying. How multiplayer worlds will work with your friends is really cool. They're going to have a very robust social system built into the game. It's not going to be like Minecraft. It's going to be a lot better than what Minecraft has. It will have a built-in friend system that you'll be able to access and friend people. You'll be able to, they haven't said that you'll be able to send DMs to people. I think maybe you will be able to. They will have in-game voice chat. They will have proximity chat that you can enable in-game. So there will be a whole host of in-game social features. And they even have some kind of cool ways that you'll be able to play with your friends. Not only will you and your friends be able to start a world together where you both start from nothing and build up, but you can have your own world built up and your friend can have their own separate world built up. And you'll be able to invite your friend and their character from their world they already have to come join you in your world that you already have. So they're going to be able to come over with all of their gear. They can bring some blocks or items or something if you need them, and they can help you build something, or they can help you kill a boss or something like that. So that's going to be really cool. I know some other games do this, and this is not going to be a feature I don't think that's available at early access launch, but it is something that sounds like it's going to be a big thing that they add in the months after. So that's going to be really cool. And lastly, I'll say this because a lot of people are going to have valid concerns about social features in a game that kids will probably also be very interested in playing. They have a parental control system already in the game for early access launch. And I've heard a lot of the features of it. It's going to be very robust and very good. Think of things like allowing your kid to friend other people, DM other people, talk to other people in voice chat, or participate in proximity chat. So you'll have all these different categories, and you'll be able to choose for your kid that's under your account. You'll be able to choose if they can do this with everybody, if they can only do it with friends of friends. So like if their friend has somebody in their friends list, will you be able to interact with them? You can make it just a friends only thing, or you can turn it off completely. So there will be really good parental controls. As a parent myself, I thought this was really important, and I talked to one of their developers about it, and he made me feel pretty good about what they're doing. Now, Riri says, how will update mods and mod packs work? Very easily. Everything will be done in game. You don't have to have separate launchers and different things. You will just be able to import your mod pack from an in-game menu. And then eventually, like I said before, mods will be able to be downloaded from in-game, and being able to download them in-game means easy one button click install. So that's going to be really convenient for people and make it really easy for anybody to do. Next, Bubble Wrap Wallpaper says, I heard that it will be bad for mods and really laggy. I can't remember which video I watched that talked about it. It was a woman. Edit. It was the video Hytale Developers Concerned by the channel Aurelius. I don't know how I'm saying her name right. I know I'm saying it wrong. We actually reacted to this video on one of my live streams. You can go back and watch it if you want to. I'm not going to recap the whole thing here. She spent about 15-20 minutes talking about all of the what she said were negative things about how Hytale was doing modding. I'm not a modder myself, so I don't have explicit knowledge to give opinions on that. But a lot of the things that she was saying as somebody that's not a modder did concern me at first when I heard them. And then she spent another 10 to 15 minutes talking more about the business side of the game. And at least the way that I personally took it, it was a lot of it was in bad faith. A lot of it was kind of accusing the developers of being liars about various things like their funding and different stuff with no evidence. It was just based off of how she thought and felt about it. She strawmanned most of their arguments, strawmanning meaning that she would give the worst possible argument that they could maybe make and assume that as being the truth. And she had a really large bias that showed throughout that second half of the video. She plugged her own personal games that she's making quite a number of times, and all of it just rubbed me the wrong way personally. And because of how that back half of the video went that I did understand a lot of and knew a lot of the information about and could pick those things apart, it makes me not really believe anything about the modding half of the video that she talked about. Now, to my understanding, there is some truth in it, and I'm going to get to some of that in a second. I had people that are experienced modders that did say, "Oh, okay, but this is a good point." So I know there is some truth in it, but in this case, the worst case scenario was always assumed as being true, and the whole thing was just in bad faith. But continuing on that, we have this message back and forth with Slikey, who is their lead developer and in charge of everything with the modding and all of that. So I'm going to read this whole chain here. He will answer some of the concerns himself, and I can't really add too much to it because, again, it's not something that I am knowledgeable in. YS says, Hytale's biggest mistake with modding is abandoning its original vision of a robust client-capable scripting API and replacing it with server-only Java mods. All custom interactions are ping-dependent, lack client-side prediction, and feel sluggish in multiplayer. And then we have YS says that's not about having played Hytale. It's about understanding the architecture. If all custom logic runs server side with no client side prediction, then interactions are inherently latency bound. We already know how this feels because Mojang's or Minecraft plugins work the same. Likey did respond saying, "You are confidently wrong. You are making assumptions based on inexperience. Please refer to," and he gives this link here, "to get started on client-side prediction and then try to imagine how our assets and scripts would be used to predict outcomes and enable latency compensation." Slikey then says, "You refer to client-side prediction in your message, but then make no effort to imagine how our asset system and the game may support it. Client modding is not required when you have a rich SDK." So the layman's terms on this, as far as how I understand it, is a lot of people are raising concern with server-side only mods. Server-side only mods are typically going to have more latency or more delay in how things react, aka when you do different actions, they're going to feel kind of sluggish or non-responsive. Things will take a while to respond. And Slikey is essentially saying in his own way that they understand this and they have already accounted for this, and they have client-side prediction methods and other methods to help cut back on the latency, and essentially saying that it is something that they are tackling. And I guess I know this is going to be a controversial topic. There'll probably be comments down below about it. Again, I don't know enough about it myself to speak confidently about any of it. I would say for the average player, it's going to be a wait and see thing. Again, I don't have a lot of reason to not believe anybody on the Hytale team. We've gotten no deception from them at any point before that I've ever seen, and have only gotten open and honest communication. So I'm going to assume good faith that they have a good solution for it. And if they don't, then they don't, and we'll see, and it'll come out once the game releases. Okay. And then the last one I have here is I'm worried about the game having a lot of combat That's my assumption for why I might not like it. So, will the game have a lot of combat? Yes, it will. We've seen a lot of it. But again, I'm going to refer back to my cozy video I just did where I laid out 8 different cozy gameplay, non-combat based systems that the game is going to have and information that we know about them. And it's going to have a ton of that as well. The one thing that has not really been talked about quite a lot yet, but would be only an assumption on my part, so I could be wrong, is that I'm assuming that you will not have to interact with the combat part of the game if you don't want to. But if you don't interact with it, there could be things that you miss out on. No different than Minecraft is really, where you don't have ways to get certain things if you don't interact with the combat. In this case, though, mods would probably come out that would make getting those things possible. There's also going to be, I believe, a difficulty slider. So if you're not a big combat person, you want the combat to be super easy, you should be able to put it on easy mode and not have a big issue with the combat if you do decide to engage with it. So there's that. And then we'll have to see what good things you get from the combat. I'm sure there will be stuff that you get as mob drops, stuff that you get as treasure loot that will be nice to have. Any game, all games I know have that, including Minecraft. So we'll have to see how it all actually plays out. Anyways, that's all the myths and the concerns that were sent to me. If I answered any of your concerns, let me know down in the comments below that I answered them. If I didn't and you have additional concerns, you can let me know. If I know an answer, I'll try to respond down below and let you know what my answer to that is. If you're going to decide to purchase Hytale, you can support my Hytale content by using code PROWL8413 at checkout. It doesn't cost you anything to do that, and Hytale gives me a little bit of money every time you use my code, so I would appreciate it. That'll help fund the channel and fund the content. And if you like this video, click the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, all that cool stuff. Join us on Discord, follow me on Twitch at PROWL8413 as well, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.